All right, we're ready to talk about this 3,000 thing because we got like a lot of other little news stuff to talk, and I know a lot of people are here for the Killer Mike talk too, because that's going to be a conversation. Because we're talking album of the year stuff, and a lot of people are saying this album is album of the year. But Killer Mike's been doing a lot of press run for this album, rightfully so. I think he's put a whole lot of time into it, damn near a decade, based on what he said in some of the interviews. And I'm gonna get to his Breakfast Club interview, and we'll get to the album. But first things first, he did an interview with Sway, and there's a clip that's going viral, and people are tagging us in it. And Sway's essentially saying that Andre 3000 has a solo album that's about to come out. Killer Mike said, "Yeah, we're about to go listen to it as a listening party." He said, "I think next week or something like that." And and so now the news around the internet is that Andre 3000 has a solo album that is coming out soon. No date on it, no word from the actual person who they're saying the album is from, just other people talking. Look, my response, and I know people want to know our response. My response is I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I hear it. I don't think Andre 3000 has an album coming. If he does have an album coming, it's not a rap album. And, I mean, why would I feel any different? What was your response to it?
I kind of chose another route.
Okay.
One, because I know who I'm dealing with. That's you. Know who I was dealing with. I was like, well, Mike's going to run up here and he's going to be like, well, this ain't coming out no damn way, so we don't got to worry about it. So you did.
It's not.
You did what I thought you were going to do. You are who I thought you were, Mike. You are.
I'm just telling the truth.
No, you are who I thought you were, Mike. But here's what's going on to me. Remember Kanye's line from Power when he's like, reality is catching up with me, taking my inner child. I'm fighting for custody. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any bar that any other MC or producer or artist has spit that kind of encapsulates who Andre is as an artist. In this business, not just hip hop, but in music, more of a young man and woman's game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Right.
And so about that, most of the prime material that you hear from artists is usually their earlier, younger stuff when they're fresh.
Right.
And when they're young. And I think for the first time when I saw it, I was like, he's been fighting this the whole time. Like, he didn't want to be that young artist that flamed out early. And maybe he could sense a flame out. And so instead of flaming out, he fled.
He spoke on that. I mean, he's been speaking on that since Rosa Parks.
But here's the other part that I want to speak to it. Because this is music, it's creative arts and creative expression, we tend to lean towards the creative artist more than the tangible artist. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we really do pay attention to the talent more than what's real. So a lot of people don't understand that some of the stances I've been taking of saying, well, how do we even know if he's the best guy in his own group? Well, it's because, for their core fan base, which is people it's actually Outkast core fan base isn't even you and me. It's actually like our cousins and brothers is 3, 4, 5 years older. That was about 15, 16, 17. Was more like 17, 18, 19, 20 when they was coming out.
Right.
Listen to what I'm saying. Well, when we're kids, that creative genius that Andre expresses, it's breathtaking and brilliant when you're 15.
Life-changing.
And when you're 20. And when you're 25. Because you hear somebody who is musically, can do brilliant, breathtaking things. But this is what I keep saying about Big Boy. Listen to the things that Big Boy was saying, and now go back as a man and go listen to these records. And who was really kicking that shit and really talking about the real life and real life situations and the real things going on. Think about Slump, Mike. Now you riding 4 deep, about to tear up your suspension and your baby mama on child support. My fault, forgot to mention. Now, we seniors in high school when that's coming out. You didn't even
have a checking account. Wasn't thinking about no pension. Yeah.
Now, while we, and I say we as in you and me and collectively everybody talking about Dre, talking about need some hope, like the words maybe, if, or probably, while he's over there doing that creative thing, Big Boy's been over here
living real life,
and kicking the real life to us, actually, that we claim we want from rappers all the time.
And when you said that, I thought about the Spodiota, and I quoted that the other day. Can't gamble feeding baby on that dope money might not always be sufficient. Yeah.
But what's the part, Mike? I have it in my notes. I said, but right here? It says, what's the part we're concerned about in that record, though? Now, one nigga done took his shirt off, talking about now who else want to fuck with Hollywood Colt, but we don't remember the part when Big Boy's really kicking that game. That's if you on top of your game and real enough to handle real life situations. That is.
Yeah, and it says, it's funny. He says, you and
somebody other young daughter doing y'all thing.
Yeah. Raising another youngin' of your own.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
But yeah.
No, but I literally had the can't gamble feeding baby on that dope money might not always be sufficient. Big Boy been talking like this.
Yeah.
He been talking like this.
He's more Goody Mob in reality rap, in my opinion, than Dre was at that state. I think the most reality rap we were getting from Dre was a little bit of Southern Playlist.
First album?
And ATLians.
The first half of ATLians.
Yeah, and I think his imagination just start going, very eccentric.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is that as a grown-ass man now,
yeah,
go back and listen to those records and tell me who you relate to, though.
It's real.
Who's really kicking the stuff in the real-life situation that you can relate to as a man? Because when we were kids, we were just enamored with the talent, with the voice.
And the technicalities.
And the exhibition. It's like now when I go back and listen to the stuff that Big Boy's saying, I'm like, oh, I get it in a whole. I understood what he was saying, but I hadn't lived life enough.
Exactly. To really feel it.
So you have to understand, the older I get, the more I gravitate towards him because he's the one that's saying those real life situations.
That's an interesting point, and I'm glad you came from that perspective. Shout out to Big Boy.
And
that's quiet.
But we have to stop. But you can get to the super chats, but we just got to stop this whole creative genius thing. Like it's almost like we license it out when we feel like it. It's like, well, he's so creatively genius that he doesn't have to stay rooted in this thing. It's like, no. Yes, he does. Because we all have to grow up sometime. This isn't fucking Never Land.
That's real. That's why with the super chat says, Nas threw a few subliminals at Cam. Got a house in Virginia, HIV. The only way you sicker than me. Blood and white chalk make pink. So what's that make you?
Oh, well, he's petty too. Told you.
Andrew Williams with the super chat.
You usually like your favorite rapper. I know both of my favorite rappers are petty. They're super petty people.
If Jay, Andrew Williams with the super chat says, if Jay would have dissed Prodigy in Prodigy's prime, it wouldn't have went the way that it did.
That's fair.
Jay caught him when he was already slipping, truthfully.
No, I said that on last Real Nigga Alive, though. He's like in the middle of that. Jay tried to sneak attack.
Jay Short with the super chat says, happy hump day, fellas. Since we're not getting Outkast, why are we not asking for the obvious Big Boy / Killer Mike album? That's right in front of us. Well, Big Boy's not even on Killer Mike's album, and Andrè is, so I don't even see why we would get that. Mad Max with the super chat says, we comparing Drake. I'll let it ring in you like Virginia Williams. To what Pusha said. Not gonna lie, Drake saying there's no malice in your love, you're approachable dude on the original beat was fire. I mean, Drake got those lines. Those are Drake lines. But did it win? Was it enough to win? Mad Max also with the super chat says, your cousin said that it was your brother, then you, so you don't rap. What did you just rap? What do you knew? You just rap what you knew. Drake was talking about Push, better song, better bars. Push just had crazy shock value, so he won. I mean, but this is the thing, though.
It was already over.
And I've said this before.
It was already over, Mike.
I've said this before. Joe Budden went out there and did 3 diss records on Drake, and he had all kind of bars. Bars don't matter when you're going against a superstar. You got to hit him where it hurts.
You got to land.
Exactly.
Got to land.
Pusha could have went out there and barred him to death, and nobody would have cared.
Nobody would have cared.
So he went out there.
Cared about that blackface.
Exactly.
Cared about that baby mama.
Exactly. So, yeah, he went for shock value because that's the only way to beat a superstar. Somebody who's selling all those records, because the first thing they're going to say when you come with the bars and this and that, they're going to say you clout chasing. They're going to say you don't sell records like me. You ain't got hits like me. So, no, I'm going to hit you with the gossip shit.
We're going to make it a real battle.
Like you did Meek. Because he did the same thing to Meek.
We're going to make it a real battle. Definitely exploited the Nicki Minaj situation.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And some of the coldest lines on there, the Nicki lines.
And he had the memes out there. Like, Drake played into the meme generation.
Look here.
And so did Pusha.
The Joe Carter.
It's incredible.
Joe Carter over Philly with the home run. Oh,
incredible.
So you've done this before.
He did it the night that Philly and Toronto was playing.
That's what I'm saying.
He dropped it, I mean.
So it's okay when Drake do it, though.
Of course. Okay. Leroy Green with the response in Super Chat says, Mike, put yourself in Drake's shoes and imagine what you could say in terms of difference between you and Push. Drake just left the fight because he knows his reality is full of ammunition, really. Well, okay. I kind of understand what you're saying, Leroy Green, but I don't. Because at the end of the day, if you step in the ring and somebody hits you with a two-piece, you say, okay, well, I'm a better fighter. Let me walk out. No, you got to prove that. You stepped in the ring. Because if it's like that, you should have left it at infrared and said nothing, right? Mm-hmm. If your life is so great and this and that, you shouldn't have even made Duppy freestyle.
That infrared hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
It hurt bad.
Exactly.
It hurt bad. I mean, Wayne caught one on that too. That was 2 L's for 1. Remember I tell you the ether is 2 hooks in 1? Oh no, infrared is a 2 for 1 L.
This is why
because he's bodying Wayne in there too. That's what the part we got to stop skipping over too. Stop making it seem like infrared is just a Drake diss. It is a multi-purpose diss.
It's actually a Wayne diss.
It's a multi-purpose
and
diss.
Drake stepped in for Wayne, and I will give Drake credit for that. Drake stepped in for Wayne because he respects and loves Wayne and everything that Wayne's done for his career. But at the same time, I have trepidation putting Wayne very high when you have Pusha T out here, who in many people's eyes isn't a top 20 MC that's been pushing him around for 30 years.
It's a
for 20 years.
Multi-purpose diss, Mike.
Exactly.
Remember the multi-purpose room when you was a kid?
Yeah.
That's what he is. Took him in the multi-purpose room. He's like, no. He's like, I'll take you in that corner, take you in that corner. I'll stand in the middle, come handle you right quick, and good night.
Christopher Hogan says, so y'all don't like Hit 'Em Up, but you like Adidon.
We just said that the record's not really all that. It's really about all the things that he did to make it work in his favor because of who Drake is.
I think Coop has more of a trepidation on Hit 'Em Up as far as the tone. I'm not huge on Hit 'Em Up.
How does the record start?
Yeah. I'm not huge on Hit 'Em Up because it's not really a Pac record. You know what I mean? Like Pac comes in there and does his thing, and then he passes it off. Hit 'Em Up's kind of like a setup record, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was trying to get a full record from Big and didn't get it.
And also, too, people forget about this. Hit 'Em Up is the B-side single on How Do You Want It single. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like...
Was it How Do You Want It or was it Toss It Up?
No, it's How Do You Want It.
Okay.
Yeah, Hit 'Em Up came up before.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Hit 'Em Up is All Eyes on Me.
It all came so close
together.
It
all happened so fast, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And fortunately musically, unfortunately personally, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the B-side to the How Do You Want It single. Mm-hmm. So usually when you do B-sides and you put your camp on a B-side, it's to get the camp some recognition. So think about this. People who don't know who the Outlaws are that are listening to How Do You Want It has in the women. Like, I'll give you an example. My mom used to have a friend, Kathy.
Yeah.
White chick, lived in Sandy Springs. That was the first place that I heard Hit 'Em Up because she bought the single to How Do You Want It. But that's because Kathy, tall, white, light ass, loves some Tupac. You feel me?
Right.
So about that, she put the How Do You Want It in, but then she just let it play.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and people don't know about singles, man.
And Pac knew that he was having that effect on certain demographics. So Hit 'Em Up was a strategic move business-wise. I just don't like the song because of the tone, because of how it starts, Mike. I believe it goes... First off,
yeah, I don't even see how you can compare that in the story of Adidon. I thought, if we're being honest, like the story of Adidon is pretty tasteful outside of the 40 thing. But again, why are we talking about rules?
Battle.
Because again, I think your trepidation really is based on how it ended. You know what I mean? As a man who's both of them are no longer here. So it's a little different than two guys that are here that are going back and forth on some, gossip stuff.
So it's like this, well, there's a fire and the house is burning down.
Mm-hmm.
And Hit 'Em Up is like, oh, so the motherfuckers left the stove on too. Well, now it's about to explode.
Yeah.
Right. Who left the stove on?
Yeah, I don't even think they're comparable. You know what I mean?
Who left the stove on when the house is burning? Well, now the whole...
Well, y'all got us off on a tangent. Let's get back to this 3000 thing. And I like everything that you had to say about the fact that Big Boy has given us real life rap. And I think a lot of us...
Isn't that what we claim that we...
Yeah, a lot of us who are Outkast fans, I mean, that balance is what we love them for, right? And I think he's that foundation,
Right.
and you appreciate that foundation more and more as time goes on.
Right.
And we see what he's done in his solo career. I've been listening to was it Sir Lucius a lot over the past couple of weeks. Very dope album.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here talking about an album that's never gonna happen.
What'd he say? This is what I mean.
Talk about an album that's never gonna happen.
This is what I mean when Big Boy been saying real stuff. You say last week they gave Outkast the keys to the city, but I still gotta pay my taxes and they show us no pity.
Yeah, these youngsters amongst us. You think they respect the law? They think they monsters. They love us. Reality rapping and giving you niggas the truth from this booth. Yeah.
My baby drama mama don't like me. She be doing things like having the boys from the neighborhood come to the studio try to fight me. She need to get a piece of American pie and take her bite out. That's my house. I disconnect the cable and cut the lights out. Let her know her grandchild is a baby and not a paycheck. Private school, daycare, medical bills. I pay that.
I think I said this last week. Based on everything that we're seeing and everything that we've seen.
Who the best? Who?
Yeah.
Because that's the shit that it's like, I mean, isn't that the stuff that we asked our greatest MCs to do? So why is he not being notarized by
Why do you think people think Andre's better than Big Boy like that?
I mean, are you listening to the bars, though? Because we all know Big Andre's bars so well. Tell me Big Boy's bars are not on par, though.
And we know that Big Boy is responsible for many of the hooks that you love from these Outkast records.
So that's what I'm saying. So let's say Andre's the better lyricist and has the better voice.
Think he got the better delivery?
Not necessarily. I used to feel that way.
I think that's a taste thing.
That's a taste thing.
Yeah. I don't
But this
think
is what I
can be
mean.
proven.
So many things about them are more close than comparable than people say. So it's like I will give Andre the voice advantage and give him the lyrical advantage, but the voice advantage is the only clear advantage. The lyrical advantage is not clear, and everything else is actually probably leans more towards Big Boy's flavor if you actually like look at our rubric and criteria, in my opinion.
Yeah, because what are we looking for in lyrics? Are we looking for lyrical miracle shit, or are we looking for real life shit?
Right, because Tupac,
Mm-hmm.
right, when he kicks that real life shit, we say that he's one of the greatest and impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this Big Boy stuff that I've been kicking.
Mm-hmm.
It's very straightforward, like Tupac shit is.
It is.
Yeah.
Ice Cube-ish.
Ice Cube-ish.
Yeah.
Scarface-ish. Chuck
Mhm.
D-ish.
And then he could still go out there and make The Way You Move. And it's So Fresh, So Clean.
So he's super versatile, too.
His versatility, now that, guys, can't be denied. Big Boy's versatility is over Dre. He's
Right.
rhymed over all kind of beats. He's rhymed over Timbaland beats.
Kind of beats.
He's rhymed over Neptune beats. He's rhymed over everything.
So this is what I'm saying. So all I'm saying is that, well, if you got, your countdown and Dre is at 12, well, having Big Boy any further behind him than like 20, how about this?
I don't think there's any way you could put Dre ahead of Big Boy.
How about
He has
this?
no work.
No, this is what I'm saying. This is like, how about this? The gap between Styles and Kiss to me might be wider than the gap between Dre and Big Boy. You feel me? It's like most people, I know a lot of people know Styles make better albums, but I think the general population thinks Kiss is better.
Right.
So let's say you have Kiss at 10. I think you can still have Styles at like 22, and that makes sense. It don't make no damn sense to have Andre at 10 and to have Big Boy at 22.
Because it's like, what are you basing it on?
It's like, what are you basing it on?
Because even the feature game
Because Styles got more of a case than Dre do.
I actually think Big Boy's feature game is better, too.
For a one-off, I'm still going to take Dre, but this goes down to
That comes down to the hype. That comes down to the fact
the
that
International Players Anthem verse.
But see, this is the thing, man. When Dre drops a whack-ass verse like he did on this Killer Mike album, I ain't going to say
It's not whack.
It's not whack, but
not
it's
up to
not
snuff.
great.
It's not up
and
to
people
snuff.
will sit here and act like it's great still.
It's not up
They're
to
not
snuff.
sitting here acting like it's just, this is an okay verse.
No,
you know what I
The
mean?
Royal Flush verse is great.
Oh, that's a great verse. But
That's
again, Big Boy's on that.
No, you're right.
Yeah, it's like whenever Dre has a, Outkast level verse, Big Boy's somewhere in sight. International Players Anthem.
It's partner and rhyme.
Yeah.
But that's why if you
Big
guys,
Boy doesn't need Dre on the record to have an Outkast level
See,
verse.
I'm speaking for the people who prefer
Yeah.
Andre over Big Boy, and what I'm trying to submit to them is like, no. It's cool if you got Andre at like 7. So you got Big Boy at like what, 11, 12, right? Because you don't know your stuff. You get what I'm saying? Like, because like to have him further than that back means you don't know your shit. You get what I'm saying? Either you know your shit or you don't. Because if you know your shit, they're not that far apart.
Exactly.
But
Because
if- but if
everything you're judging him on, this man was on putting out great work
and
too.
does it in space. So he gives you the reality rap more. He gives you the hooks more. He's more stable. He's been the bigger hit maker.
It's crazy. Niggas
doing?
be treating Big Boy like he's Vinny or something. And I say that respectfully. I love Vinny.
Can rap.
Vinny can rap.
It's just not Tretch.
But we know Tretch is something else. Yeah, Tretch is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And Tretch also, which is different too, kind of like Q-Tip, Tretch will actually take a whole song. Like OPP is just Tretch. Y'all act like Dre's done that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all act like Dre's made Bonita Applebum or something, you know what I mean, on an Outkast album.
Imagine being in the studio, and Dre's like, nah, big, sit this one out. I got this.
Never happened. You know what does happen? Big Boy says, you know what, I got this one, sit this one out. You got Slump. You got the Decatur
It's not sitting
song.
this one out. It's that he's not there to make the record, Mike. I'm serious. It's not that he's telling him to sit it out. Well, he's not sitting there to begin with. So there's nothing to tell him to sit out from.
Is Southern Playalistic the only Outkast album where Dre didn't sit out?
It's the only one. I feel that way because it's the only one where you get the reality rap. Because to be honest with you, the Dre that I fell in love with is on Southern Playalistic. That's the guy I related to. Y'all telling me that I need to get out and vote. Huh. Why? I'm making 300 on my SAT. Yeah, I am equal. Ain't no sequel. No saga. No way out. I'm nervous. I had it up the forehead. The suckers trying to serve us.
He rapped on every song on there except for Funky Ride. Neither one of them were on there, right?
But he's
But
there.
on ATLians, though, he sat out on Decatur song, right?
Right.
On Aquemini, he sat out West Savannah. He sat out on Slump.
Right.
On Stankonia, yeah, he's sitting out a lot. He's not even really rapping a lot on Stankonia either. You know what I'm saying?
He Bill Walton in '86 on Stankonia. Okay, it's like, yeah, that guy's still good, but it's like you don't really play as much as he used to. But for the 20 minutes we got him.
Now he did do that one song by himself, but it's just one verse. You know what I mean? That question mark.
That might have been the verse of the year, though.
You think so?
It's up there.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, technically, there were no rules in the battle, but Mike, imagine if Pusha makes a rap poking fun at the possibility of Coop dying. You can respond, but if you said like Willie D, no more talk, it's understandable. So are y'all going to take that one line and make it seem like that's the reason why there's no response? I don't like that, man. I mean, I get it, but
they picking their fruit funny.
Yeah, because I feel like even if that 40 line wasn't in there, Drake wasn't going to respond anyway. And I could see if when everybody was going on their campaigns while this all was going on, if that was their only talking point. That wasn't their talking point. They were more concerned about, the kid being revealed than they were 40. Jay Short with the super chat says, is Styles P better than Corrupt? I got to look out for the West Coast. It's funny you say that, Jay Short, man. I was listening to Doggy Dog World. I think this is before our Death Row Wu-Tang matchup, which we're going to talk about in a second, too. But I was listening to Corrupt's verse on Doggy Dog World, and I'm thinking, this is 1993. Was Corrupt better than Andrè in 93? Nigga was spitting. Nigga was spitting, man. Like, yo, he went crazy on Doggy Dog World.
So let's rank it. Dog Food comes out in 95, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's more fair to take the 95 Corrupt and the 96 Dre.
96 or 94?
Because what do we really have for Corrupt in 94? That's what I'm saying.
What we have from Corrupt in 94, yeah, it's just doggy style stuff.
Right, it's doggy style stuff.
And so you got Chronic stuff too, 92,
it's not a lot.
93.
That's not enough to go against Dre's Southern Playalistic. But Dog Food
up against ATL.
Right. Now what say you?
I say Andrè.
Me too, barely.
Based on...
It's the more impressive coming out party, in my opinion.
All I'm saying is, man, we obviously grade Dre on a verse-by-verse vacuum level. So
we don't have a choice.
Yeah. So if I heard Doggy Dog World and heard Corrupt rapping on there, I would say he's a better rapper than the guy that I heard on Southern Playlist.
What's the first single on Dog Food? Let's Play House?
Was that the first single?
I feel like
or was it Respect? Okay.
I feel like it's Let's Play House.
Okay.
Okay, so Corrupt's bars on Let's Play House or Andre's bars on Elevators?
Nah, that's Andrè.
Okay, second single is New York, New York?
It's New York, New York.
So Corrupt's verse on there or Andre's verse is on ATLians, which is second single.
I think New York, New York.
That's Corrupt. So then the third verse, what's that? That's Jazzy Bell?
You got Jazzy Bell and...
should have been Wheels of Steel.
You think so?
Yeah, should have been Wheels of Steel. Wheels of Steel is just a better record.
I think so too.
Yeah,
And when I first heard ATLians, that was my favorite
Wheels of Steel
song.
was my favorite song when I first heard it.
Me too.
Because we're old school Atlanta, though.
Yeah.
That's that old school 808 yeek shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeek.
I don't remember what the third single was. I guess it was Respect.
I think it was Respect.
Yeah.
So that would be Andrè, too.
That would be Andrè as well.
Right.
And
then if you go into the bar work on the album, I think that's Andrè, too, because we're not even talking about André's best verses on the album unless you're talking about the last Elevators verse.
No, that's fair.
Right.
AB Studios of the Super Chat says Andrè 3000's new album probably will sound like James Blake and Lex Luger drum kit. He'll release them on Dizzer exclusively. You know what? Let's just let's play with this notion that this album is real. Let's just say for a second. Let's imagine, since we're in imaginary land right now, let's imagine that everything that Sway and Killer Mike said is real. And Killer Mike's going to go and listen to this Andrè album next week, and let's just say it's getting released sometime this year. Is this a rap album? What does this album sound like?
It's sad that the first thing that I thought about was how insightful Big Boy was, and then the second thing I thought about is like, why am I taking these Big Boy notes when we're not even sure if this nigga's about to rap? Is it going to be a rap album, Mike? I mean, you tell me.
No.
Is it going to be a rap album? Because here's what
Even if it exists, no.
How about this? Would you be satisfied with a Miseducation style product, whereas in you get 3 full rap songs and about 3 other verses?
That changes nothing for me at this point.
Really?
I mean, it has to be a full.
What if it's Miseducation level? Like, what if he does make a Lost Ones?
If he has a Lost One,
in a final. How about this? No, matter of fact, let's take doo-wop and Lost Ones on the table. What if he got a couple of final hours in him?
I don't think that changes much. He needs a doo-wop and a Lost One.
He's not doing that.
So let's just say
he's not doing that.
Because at the end of the day, bro,
doo-wop's going to be easier for him to pull off than Lost Ones. He's not doing Lost Ones. He don't got that.
30 years in the game, and you don't have one single song where it's just you, 3 verses and a hook. I think we at least should get a Lost Ones or doo-wop.
You want to know what I really want to know about? I know what his bar work look like, Mike. It's his hook game is why I really want to hear the solo songs. I know he can rap his ass off. I know he's one of the best guys that I've ever heard on the mic. I grew up idolizing him. I don't know what his hook game look like. That's why I keep on bringing up Big Boy. What it's like, well, most of these famous Outkast hooks that I'm finding myself singing as a grown ass man, I'm like, damn, that sounds like
Miss Jackson is him. I think Bombs Over Bad Dad's him.
Okay.
Those aren't really there.
So I'm going to say this again. Questions about his hook game. You just gave me some evidence.
Yeah.
Because how about this? The weakest part about Bombs Over Baghdad is what?
You think the hook's the weakest part?
The part his part, yes.
Don't pull the thing out
unless you finna bang. Bombs over bag. It's definitely not the verses. It's definitely not the beat. They destroyed the verses, Mike.
They did.
They destroyed the verses.
The beats, the breakdown. You're right.
I
think that song's exceptional, and I think the hook is dope. But you're right.
The weakest part of the song.
If you want to break it down and say what the weakest part of the song is.
How about this? As far as them on one song together, I don't know if they have a mic performance together like that on just a one-off verse on a song together like Bombs Over Baghdad. Not where Andre's verse is like here and Big Boy's verse is right here, and it's a single and it's a record.
I think it's their best song in my personal opinion.
It's
like
not their best song.
If I had to,
it's not their best song.
I think pound for pound,
it's the most. It's
not my favorite per se. But
see, people are so stuck on the innovation of the record. It might be the most innovative record ever made. Because I don't think anybody has tried that degree of difficulty of record and pulled it off on that level. So as far as degree of difficulty, one of the biggest hauls that you find. But that shit's not better than Elevators, Mike. It's not better than, to a lot of people, it's not better than So Fresh, So Clean. It's definitely not better than Benzo or Beamer.
You don't think it's better than So Fresh, So Clean?
Said some people.
Okay.
Some people.
I do think So Fresh, So Clean is their last great single, in my opinion.
Yeah, me too. I'm trying to think. No, it's better than Rosa Parks and Skew It on the Barbie in the art of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
It's not better than Elevators. It's better than ATLians. It's better than Jazzy Belle. I don't know if it's better than Players Ball, Mike. I don't know if it's better than Southern Playalistic.
Chris Hogan with the super chat.
It's not better than Get Up, Get Out. So, no, it's not their best record.
I've never heard of those comparisons before, but,
Yeah, see, you have to go back into
Get
their
Up,
stuff.
Get Out, and Bombs Over Bad Dad's interesting.
Yeah.
Chris Hogan with the super chat says, Hove and 3000 get the mid-verse praise a lot. It's true.
They're on a song together with some mid-verses, the Jeezy I Do song.
Yeah. Like, non-memorable stuff,
A lot
man.
of mid-riff on there.
I mean, he's on the He's on the remix to 30's the New 20, remember? Not memorable stuff.
Mm-hmm. But he shows himself like the Carter Ford interlude with Tech Nine.
Mm-hmm.
I tell a nigga all those flows of Ball Road is the Far Road 3 stacks. Yeah.
Let me get to some of these super chats before we move on. Matt Max says, nah, the Border Patrol line Pusha had was the best bar in his whole disc.
The Border Patrol line
Mike,
was strong.
you're playing Duppy before Adidon. To be honest, Drake's superstardom hurt him. Superstardom can never hurt you.
We still on this? We still doing this?
They are, yeah, because he's a superstar. Superstardom doesn't hurt you.
Let it go.
Exactly. Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says, I have no idea why we're acting like Dre's album is on the horizon. Like a kid waiting for his absent dad to show up on his birthday. Or Leroy Green to have a correct take regarding Nas. It ain't happening. I think that's the best super chat we've gotten all day. He's right. You guys are like the kid waiting for the father to come home. It's not happening, guys.
Look, he said he was going to get cigarettes. That was 6 years ago. Let that shit go, too. Let it go.
This nigga Dre said he was going to get cigarettes 20 years ago. Right. Niggas not coming back, guys.
Look, this is how Stink On You got finished recorded, Mike. He was just like, hey, so I'm going to be back in a minute. It's like 3 months went by. He was like okay,
and then everybody in the family's telling you the nigga's coming back. He's never telling you. It's always other people saying, yo, man, he's coming back.
Yeah.
He's coming back. He never called you and told you he's coming back. That's the other thing, man. Like, respect the Killer Mike.
You sat by the MARTA bus station and waited.
Put together a dope album. But I'm tired of other people telling us that Andre's coming out with something or Dr. Dre's coming out with something. Let's hear it from Andre himself. Let's hear it from Dr. Dre himself. And then I might take it somewhat serious. But if it's another person telling us, I don't care.
I mean, like, real talk, Mike, like, if the album come on and I hear the flute playing, I'm cutting it off as soon as
the flute's going to be the first thing you hear.
If I hear the flute, then I'm out.
Yeah, we're going to get an instrumental album of nothing but double flute playing. Jay Short with the super chat.
I know what we won't be getting, Mike. We won't be getting any typical rap songs.
Yeah.
That's what we won't be getting.
I mean, listen. After hearing scientists and engineers, I'm not really looking for it.
When's the last great verse that he did, though? When's the last time that it's like this notoriety for like these stellar verses? When's the last verse for you? How about this? Kanye's had greater verses in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Kanye got What Would Meek Do? How about this?
Does.
Think about this. We talking about Kanye now, who's not even traditionally in a lot of people's mind a rapper anymore. He's an artist.
Yeah. He's just doing stuff.
Right. So you're an artist, right? Like Kanye's an artist. Where your What Would Meek Do verse?
Good point.
On some rap shit.
On some rap shit.
Kanye can still know how to get on some rap shit, Mike. We got evidence of that in this era. That it's like, no. Kanye can still like rap his ass off if he feels like it.
Jay Short with the super chat says, I think the blueprint he said, I think the blueprint I would like to hear for Dre album is Q-Tip's Renaissance. The Renaissance. But I'll probably get Kamal the Abstract instead. Good, but you're probably not going to get either. Gary Pierce with the super chat says,
nigga need the low end theory. You talking about some Kamal the Abstract? He need the low end theory.
Yeah, he's waited too long. Gary Pierce with the super chat says, One Love Kings, is Dre so much better than everyone else who ever picked up the mic that with no work that he is all-time great? Where's the solo work? Dre and Big Boy are comparable. The Dre and K-Dot worship is crazy.
It's just misguided. But here's something else. I'm glad they brought up Kendrick. Remember I made the Never Neverland comment?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what Kendrick is suffering from, is that actually Kendrick has grown up and addressed the topics as he's aged and become a man. To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, even this last album. It is the addressing of the issues as he has gotten older. But it's also why the material's not as good, because that creative zone in space is really what made Kendrick who he was. I've always told people, it's like, anybody ever thought that he was like Nas, Rakim, or Black Thought on the mic, like as a lyricist or pun or G-rapper? No, he not that. You know what I'm saying? He was never that. But he's a culmination of a lot of things like Biggie was. But he's just got more of a social conscious and commentary to it.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of hurts him material-wise. You just heard the evidence of it on the last album. Listen to what I'm about to say. But I give him more credit than I could ever give Andre, because at least he tries.
Stepped in
at
the
least
ring.
he grown up. At least he gave us a grown-ass man album that is a masterpiece, that is actually a dissemination on black culture. So for as much flex as I give Kendrick on here, got to give him props where props is due too, because creatively he is compared to Andre a lot. but we have evidence that he can do things that Andre can't. Like when I first heard "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe," I was like, this is the song that I wish my favorite rapper growing up would have made. Because when I was growing up, it was Andre and Nas. It's like when I was saying my favorite rapper, I wasn't talking about Nas. Nas ain't about to make no "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe," but that's right in that 3000s alley.
Yeah.
But we got evidence that Kendrick can do those creative, stylistic riff records where he sings kind of cadences with the flow, but still raps, but still connects the message, and can do it in a full song by himself.
And a lot of people feel like we be hating on 3000. Both you and I know for me, Andre was my favorite rapper, right? And so I had to go out here and constantly defend Andre up against other people whose favorite rappers were Jay, were Nas, people who actually got work. And after a while, I'm like, man, you know what? You're fucking right. It is what it is. I can't defend it anymore. But yeah, I don't believe this album's coming. If this album does come, it's not going to be a rap album. If it is a rap album based on what I'm hearing recently, it's probably not going to be that good, unfortunately. But I hope the child in me hopes that it will be.
See, that's that Never Never Land shit.
Yeah.
Right. The kid
I live in reality.
Right. The kid in you wants him to succeed. But let me ask you something. And this is what I'm saying. This is what I mean about the childhood nature of it. Are you really a fan of his still? Like,
I'm an Outkast fan.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So stop trying to. I'm so tired of this. People. I'm a fan of Andre. A fan of Andre's what? Because here's the reality of the matter. And this is what I mean. You tend to like gravitate towards the people like you or who you like. Well, it's like in him, I see somebody, Mike, that it's like I used to be able to relate to as a young man creatively. As a grown man, I do not relate to you creatively. As far as what you're saying, it's like, you know, it's almost like, you know what he needs, Mike? He needs some executive production. It's actually,
and they're calling me a traitor in the chat.
I'd be more, listen to what I'm about to say. I would love it if Organized Noise would pick it back up.
He's not going to do that. It's typical rap stuff. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, Dre influenced a generation of kids everywhere. He influenced me. You know what I mean? But the reality of the situation is, you know, it's, I don't want to say, what have you done for me lately? Because he hasn't done anything as an individual to, you know, get that level of regard.
No.
And we're about to move on.
No. Alexa, give me a beat. Boom, 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 boom.
And I'm not a traitor, man. Like, this is the thing, guys. And I'm going to say this and we'll move on to the Killer Mike review. Am I a traitor if I'm an Atlanta Hawks fan, right? And they don't do anything to win. Right. They don't do anything to win. And they, you know what? Let's just say the Hawks just stopped going out there on the court and competing.
They did, Mike.
Exactly.
They did do that.
Okay. And so if I say, you know what? I'm no longer a fan of this team. I'm a fan of the team that's actually out here playing. Am I a traitor? Did they give me a reason to be a fan?
Remember when they asked Deion Sanders about tackling, and he's like, hey, that's a business decision.
Right.
It's business decisions, Mike.
Yeah.
People be making business decisions.
It is what it is. We're going to talk about this Killer Mike album, somebody who's actually putting out an album.
Let's talk about the winners. Let's talk about the Atlanta Braves and Killer Mike. Let's not talk about the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, shout out to the ATLians in the chat. Yeah. Matt back to the super chat says, Mike, you skipped my 2 super chats. Go back up. Let me see real quick.
Yeah, go back. I'm about to step out for 2 seconds.
Okay, right, go ahead. Yeah, I did skip Mad Max. My bad, bro. He said, and I'm going to say this. Listen to the station head. Death Row is just a West Coast Future and Thug, LOL. And old heads in the comments saying the songs are a vibe. I couldn't believe it. Wait a minute. Hold on. Mad Max, you didn't think Death Row won that? Death Row won that handily. And we're going to actually go through the actual track list as well. And Mad Max also said, outside of Corrupt and Pop, them dudes' content was Future. For a nut, pause. Level under Metro production. You 90s heads, I'm on you, and your era is overrated. Wait a minute. Did y'all feel like that during the Death Row in Wu-Tang? Did y'all feel like that during the Death Row and Wu-Tang station head? Because Death Row came with heat. I played nothing but records from the. So you think The Chronic is overrated? You think Doggy Style is overrated? You think All Eyes on Me is overrated? Come on, Mad Max. You got to have more backup for that. But yeah, we're about to talk about this Killer Mike album. How many of y'all think the Killer Mike has dropped album of the year? Because a lot of people are saying that in the chat. A lot of people on social media are saying that. Saw saw his Breakfast Club interview, and Charlemagne seemed to be a huge fan of the album that Killer Mike just put out, the Michael album. So, do y'all think it's album of the year? I'm still, I know y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm still rocking with the Jay Skis to a degree. But from a technical standpoint, it's hard to go against the Killer Mike album. Let me see what Jay Short has to say in the chat here. Jay Short with I'm sorry, Mike H. My bad. Got the super chat. He says, but by some chance Andrè drops a 5 Mike rap album, where would you place him all time? Let's just play with that notion real quick, and we'll move on because I know y'all want to keep talking about Dre. But let's just say he does drop a 5 Mike rap album, right? We also have to factor in the fact that it came 30 years later. We also have to factor in that it is one album, where everybody who's an all-time great has much more than one album, right? I think one album might not even be the buy-in. But let's just say he does drop that one album that we've been waiting for let's just say, like 20 years. I don't think that it's too far-fetched for somebody to come up with 14 really good rap songs or great rap songs in a 20-year time frame. And so I don't feel like if that even happens, then we're supposed to jump out our shoes and say that this person's top 10. You know what I mean?
Well, let's pause for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I submit to you. He's a member of a group, a classic all-time great rap group.
Straight up.
So let's go through some of the guys right quick, just briefly on our list, who are part of rap groups that are all-time great. The highest one on the list is Ice Cube.
Mm-hmm.
So let's use Ice Cube as a barometer. So he has a classic album as a group member and has a definite 2 classics by himself, right?
Yeah.
So
2
he's
and 3 and 2 and a possible.
2 and a possible.
Yeah.
So let's say he's got 3 to 4 classics. Now he's at number 4. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Got Chuck D at 8, which is basically off group stuff and Impact. Really didn't do solo stuff. KRS-One is at 9, Boogie Down Productions.
Yeah.
So he's got 4 albums that are classic, in my opinion. And so what I'm saying is like for the level that people talk about him on, understand that it's like, well, his buy-in is an Outkast buy-in, so he needs a classic album to even be considered in this conversation. You got Scarface, Ghostface, Raekwon. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He just don't have it outside of the Outkast stuff, Mike. These guys have classic group material and like stellar solo careers, not like regular solo careers. So it's like just to him crack the top 20, or let's look at Pusha T. We got Pusha T at 31 and we got Prodigy at 33. Now, what about Outkast catalog and Dre's solo catalog? Would you need to put him ahead of Prodigy at 33 is what I would submit to you, because the catalogs are comparable.
It is.
We did a versus battle. I beat you with Mobb Deep.
Let's clarify here. We did a versus battle with ATLians and Hell on Earth. And Hell on Earth did beat ATLians.
Fairly handily.
It did. I don't want people to think that the Mobb Deep catalog beat Outkast's catalog.
We can do
Not
that.
Not saying that it wouldn't or it couldn't. And I'm not saying it would. I just wanted to clarify.
We can do that.
You want to do that?
We can do that. That would be fun.
What do y'all think? Y'all want to do an Outkast and Mobb Deep Station Head? Y'all down to do that?
Those are my 1 and 2 duos.